Between February and November of 2024, the world's wealthiest individuals executed one of the most stunning, coordinated financial maneuvers in modern history. They didn't do it gradually. They didn't do it quietly. They sold over $50 billion in stock. This is not simple portfolio rebalancing. This is not estate planning. This is an exodus. And the smart money is running for the exits, using the exact same playbook they deployed in 2007 right before the financial crisis destroyed $16 trillion in wealth and crashed the market 57%. The public is buying. The billionaires are selling. And the data they see is telling them something terrifying. Get out. Look at the names involved. We're talking about the builders, the founders, the guys who have held their stock through every crisis in the last 30 years. Jeff Bezos sold $13 billion in Amazon. The stock was at all-time highs and he sold it fast. Mark Zuckerberg sold over $9 billion in Meta stock, liquidating at the peak of the AI hype. Larry Ellison unloaded $3 billion in Oracle. The Walton family dumped $2.3 billion in Walmart, despite it being their family legacy. But the most significant signal of all comes from America's largest bank. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, sold stock for the very first time in his entire 18-year tenure as CEO. He survived the dot-com crash, the 2008 crisis, and COVID. He never sold a single share until now. These men do not panic. They operate on perfect information that you and I don't have access to. And right now, that data is screaming that the window is closing. The pattern says we have 6 to 18 months before everything breaks, before the cascade begins. We are going to show you exactly who's selling, the specific data points that they're seeing that the public is blind to, and the 6 steps you must take right now to protect your wealth and profit from the recovery. This isn't a prediction. This is pattern recognition. And the pattern is repeating for the first time since 2007. To understand why this is such a critical warning, we need to talk about what insider selling really is. When you hear that term, you might think of illegal activity, but we're talking about something perfectly legal. Insiders are the executives, board members, and large shareholders who own more than 10% of a company's stock. They are required by law to report any buying or selling of their company as shares to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, within just 2 business days. This transparency is supposed to level the playing field, but what it really does is create a public record of what the most informed people are doing with their money, and their information advantage is staggering. It's not just about having a gut feeling for their business. They have access to real-time, non-public data that won't show up in a public earnings report for months, if ever. Think about what Jeff Bezos sees. He doesn't need to wait for a quarterly report. He can see Amazon's daily sales figures, the profit margins on every single product, and the internal forecasts for every division, from cloud computing to advertising. He knew, to the day, when growth was starting to slow or when costs were getting out of control. Now consider Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan. He has a live feed into the entire US economy. He sees the real-time loan default rates, not just for mortgages, but for credit cards and small businesses. He knows exactly how many commercial real estate loans are delinquent and struggling to get refinanced. He sees the credit card charge-offs ticking up month after month, long before that data becomes a news headline. This isn't speculation. This is the financial dashboard of the American consumer and American business. And he chose now to sell. For decades, Wall Street has been tracking this insider activity through a powerful metric called the sell-to-buy ratio, tracked by firms like the Washington Service since 1975. The ratio is simple. It compares the volume of insider selling to the volume of insider buying. In a healthy market, you expect to see a ratio of around 2:1 or 3:1. That's normal. Executives sell for diversification, to buy a house, or pay taxes. That's not a red flag. But when that ratio starts climbing above 5:1, it becomes a warning signal. It means insiders are selling far more than they're buying for reasons beyond simple diversification. And when it hits 8:1 or 10:1, it's a screaming alarm. It signals that the people who know the most believe their company's stock is overvalued, and a downturn is coming. In 2024, that ratio hit 9:1. In some months, it spiked to a terrifying 12:1. This is the most extreme imbalance, the loudest alarm we've seen since late 2007, right before the global financial crisis. The insiders are not just selling, they are liquidating. Let's dig into the specific cases, because the public excuses for these sales just don't add up. First, Jeff Bezos. He sold $13 billion of Amazon stock. The official story? He was moving to Florida to save on state income taxes. It sounds plausible, but let's apply some common sense. Bezos has been one of the richest men in the world for decades. He had over 25 years to move to a state with no income tax. Why now? He chose the exact moment his company hit a $2 trillion valuation for the first time, and the overall market was hitting record highs. This wasn't tax planning. This was market timing, plain and simple. He cashed out at the absolute peak. Then there's Mark Zuckerberg, who sold $9 billion of Meta stock. The public reason was to fund his charity, the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, a noble cause, but the finances don't make sense. As one of the wealthiest people on the planet, he could have easily borrowed against his shares at an interest rate of just 3 or 4%. This is a common strategy for the ultra-rich to get cash without selling and triggering a massive tax bill. Instead, he chose to sell his shares at the fastest pace of his career, converting them to cash as the stock soared on the AI hype. This is a classic exit strategy. Sell into strength at a record high. But the most chilling sale of all is Jamie Dimon. For 18 years, he was the ultimate hodler, a term for someone who holds on for the long term. He preached long-term ownership. He held his stock through the 2008 crisis that nearly destroyed his industry. He held through the pandemic crash in 2020. He never sold a single share. To break an 18-year streak sends a message more powerful than any press release. He sees the backstage of the U.S. economy, the cracks in the foundation that no one else can see. He sees the looming crisis in commercial real estate and the rising stress on the American consumer. When the ultimate believer, the captain of America's largest financial ship, finally decides to cash in some chips, it's the final signal. And it's not just them. Larry Ellison at Oracle sold his stock at a peak driven by AI excitement. The Walton family, heirs to the Walmart fortune, liquidated over $2 billion of their family legacy. Insiders at Nvidia, the darling of the AI boom, were also selling heavily. The message is unanimous, from tech to banking to retail. The risk is too high, the price is too good, and it's time to get out. The insiders are selling because they see the same red flags that have appeared before every major crash in history. These aren't just feelings, they're cold, hard metrics that are flashing red. Let's look at the 7 unseen metrics that justify their exodus. First, the historical pattern is undeniable. We've seen this movie before. In 1987, 2000, and 2007, massive insider selling preceded a market crash by about 6 to 24 months. History is not just rhyming, it's repeating. Second, the Buffett indicator, named after Warren Buffett. It compares the total value of the U.S. stock market to the country's economic output, or GDP. Right now, it's at 185%. That means the stock market is valued at nearly double the entire U.S. economy. The historical average is around 100%. For the market to simply return to its average, it would require a 46% drop. Third, the Shiller-Pay ratio, also known as the CAPE ratio. This measures stock market valuation adjusted for inflation over a 10-year period. It currently stands at 34. This level has only been higher twice in history. In 1929, right before the Great Depression, and in 2000, just before the dot-com bust. Every single time this ratio has gone above 30, a major crash has followed within 3 years. Fourth is margin debt. This is the money that investors borrow to buy more stocks. In late 2024, it hit a record level of $950 billion. This is a powder keg. When the market starts to fall, brokers issue margin calls, forcing these investors to sell their stocks to pay back their loans. This forced selling creates a domino effect, pushing prices down even faster. In 2008, this exact mechanism led to $570 billion in forced liquidations, accelerating the crash. Fifth, and this is a big one, is the commercial real estate and corporate debt crisis. Let's call it the wall. Office vacancy rates in major cities are at 40 to 50%. Trillions of dollars in commercial real estate mortgages are now maturing and need to be refinanced, but not at the 3% rates of a few years ago. They're facing new rates of 7 to 8%. Many properties simply can't afford that, which is why we call it a time bomb. At the same time, corporations are facing their own debt wall. A staggering $4.7 trillion in corporate bonds are set to mature between 2024 and 2026. Companies that borrowed cheaply cannot afford to refinance at today's high rates. Bankruptcies are already starting to rise. Finally, the U.S. federal debt spiral. The national debt is over $36 trillion. The government is running a $2.4 trillion annual deficit and spending $1.2 trillion a year just on interest payments. That's more than the entire defense budget. There are only three ways out of this: cut spending, raise taxes, or print more money. All three of those options are destructive to the economy and your investments. The insiders see this, and they know it can't end well. So what does this all mean for you? The timeline is converging. The danger window looks to be from the third quarter of 2025 through the second quarter of 2026. This period lines up perfectly with the commercial and corporate debt wall and the typical market behavior in the second year of a presidential election cycle. In this scenario, there are clear winners and losers. The winners will be the insiders who sold at the top, who will then use their cash to buy back their own company stocks at a 50% discount. People holding cash will have the dry powder to buy incredible assets on sale, and gold will likely perform well as a safe haven asset, an insurance policy against the Federal Reserve printing more money. The losers, tragically, will be the middle class, whose 401 kiloseconds and retirement accounts will get decimated. Pension funds will face massive shortfalls, and any investor who is heavily leveraged or who bought in at the top will be wiped out. But this doesn't have to be your story. Here is the 6-point playbook to not only survive but thrive. First, reduce your exposure to stocks. If you are 80% in stocks, consider moving to 40 or 50% and raise your cash position. Cash is not trash. It is an option to buy later at a discount. Second, consider holding 10 to 15% of your portfolio in gold, either physical or through an ETF like GLD. It's insurance. Third, create a buy list. These are the high-quality, world-class companies you've always wanted to own, like Apple, Microsoft, or Visa. Know what you want to buy so you're ready when they go on sale. Fourth, and this is crucial, protect your job and your income. Make yourself invaluable at work. Build up a 12-month emergency fund to weather any storm. Fifth, prepare yourself psychologically. The best time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, when everyone else is panicking. You must be prepared to act bravely when others are fearful. And finally, the sixth point is to heed the final warning. The billionaire exodus is real. It's the most significant signal we have. Position yourself accordingly. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more updates as this story unfolds.